Thank you. My name is William Akon Deng. I'm from South Sudan, and I'm like 27 years. When I was abducted, I was very small. I just know my name. I don't know the date and anything, but I know that the people I'm living with are not my family. The family can eat. If there is a remaining food, then you can eat. If there is no remaining food that day, you remain without food that day. That was how my life was. I was beaten by anyone, even a child like me can beat me, and I cannot raise my hand to defend myself. When you are still new, they don't give even space. They know that maybe you will escape them. This sometimes you sleep with your hand tied and then tied it against the pole and like that. And when going to take care of the animals, rear the animal in the bush, you go with their children, and they are all armed. They have guns. Some children who used to try to escape and fail to escape, they used to beat them, and even they used to kill some. And sometimes they can cut this beam so that you cannot run, you cannot walk. You can cut it, and then they put you on the camel or on donkey and then walk. That is how my life was when I was that was a slavery. There is no help at all. No one will help you. No one say why you always do this to this child, is still a child, and all this. This is maybe a first interview before I met with some people and they interviewed me, and I was not able to talk because the hard time I went through is I couldn't able to speak, and many people I saw were killed. Some were set on the fire. It's really a very bad image. Myself, if I find someone and tell me that is treat like this and like that, I know that this person really need help, and if I have power, I can help the person, because I know how things are going really in the other part of the world, how people are treated. In Egypt, no, life was really very hard. No work, no security. You don't feel secure in Egypt. from government or from people themselves, citizens. When you are sick and you go to a hospital, you don't get cure from the hospital. They used to, sometimes if you go with small sickness, they'll go and kill you and take the organs. And in 2005 in Egypt, the refugees decide to complain the life they were living, to bring attention of the UN to their daily situation. They stayed there for 3 months outside. At the end, the UN, the Egyptian security forces attacked the refugees, and many people were killed. Pay Bedouin $300 US, and I was shown the way. They brought me to the border and then they say you go like this and like that and you will be in Israel. Israel very well. I didn't go to school. I read it in the Bible. In that came and who is going to be responsible and why they decide if it is a humanitarian camp, why they decide to make it a closed camp. It's a question to be asked by you and not by refugees. God said to Israeli people that treat the stranger good because you were also strangers. I can say this is for we as South Sudanese also. We were a stranger and we are still a stranger all over the world. But we like Israel so much. You know why? Because we are doing the same thing. We are facing the same thing. The government there is Islamic government is killing us. And Israel here also is struggling. This is the same thing to us. This thing connects us together, you know. And even though we are not the same religion, Israel is Jewish and we Christian, we are still sharing the same Bible. We were expecting many positive things to gain from Israel, but unfortunately we find Israel do not know us.
According to Article 1 of the 1951 Refugee Convention, a refugee is defined as a person who has a well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of a particular social group or political opinion, is outside the country of his nationality, and is unable or owing to such fear is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of that country.
Being a refugee is not really a good name. It's not a good name, there's no respect on it at all. Supposed to look at the background of these refugees and then say a good word, comfort them, console them, and so that they can later on maybe be a good friend.
It's only an introduction of myself and who I am and where am I from, but I have no right to work and I have no right to get even medicine insurance or this kind of thing.
Work, we are not allowed to work, and we don't have any assistance from any part, not whether from government or from UN. No, nothing like no assistance at all.
It makes no sense that Israel will accept the refugees, but like not help them live, not give them a means of living.
Article 17 of the 1951 Refugee Convention states that the contracting state shall accord to refugees lawfully staying in their territory the most favorable treatment accorded to nationals of a foreign country in the same circumstances as regards the right to engage in wage-earning employment.
If you are not accepted to work, or you will just go to the farm and you will stay like that.
Don't have any future because no way open for us to do good work and make money and then pay money for education.
On numerous occasions, Minister of the Interior Eli Yishai stated that infiltrators are a threat to Israel's character as a Jewish state, that they spread disease, and more recently that they are all criminals. Minister Yishai has recently appointed a special task force in charge of solving the infiltrator problem and declared its purpose is for Israel to be without infiltrators. Knesset member Danny Danon called several times for the detention and mass deportation from Israel of all infiltrators, stating that an infiltrator enemy state has been established inside Israel. Knesset member Miri Regev compared infiltrators to cancer, and Knesset member Ariel Dad of the National Union Party suggested that the IDF start shooting infiltrators at the border. Arguing that the refugees threaten the Zionist dream, Mr. Yishai has claimed that most are Muslims. Yet official figures show that in South Tel Aviv, 13.5% of crimes are committed by foreigners, who make up 28% of the local population. And while health ministry experts estimate that 17% of HIV sufferers are among legal and illegal foreigners who are 3% of the national population, police say only one refugee has been charged with rape. And most members of the largest single group, the 35,000 Eritreans, are Christian.
We say the country we come from is our enemy. We are from that country, but that country is more enemy to us than even to Israel. Why? Because they kill almost 5 million people from us.
refugees might seem to result from daily friction with foreigners, most of the Jewish Israelis who were polled said that there were few refugees where they lived or none at all. While more than half of Jewish Israelis were tolerant of foreign workers from Eastern Europe, Thailand, or the Philippines, nearly 3 out of 4 said that they were disturbed by Sudanese or Eritrean workers. Israeli government officials have condemned the violence, but critics say recent statements by some officials about deporting or imprisoning refugees have encouraged the backlash. One lawmaker recently called on Israeli soldiers to shoot any refugees attempting to cross the border with Egypt.
The citizens start beating the people in the street when you look different from them, the video, and then if you are inside your apartment also they will drop you a bottle or to get out. If you get out from the apartment they will start attacking you, and from there they start walking and shouting in the street, and they came and they found it that there was 3 shops was open that was belonged to the refugees, and they started breaking the shops and the store, and they break, and from there the police was there, and they said they are not enough powerful to protect these people. To stop these people.
Abraham Foxman, National Director for the Anti-Defamation League, said in a statement that while we recognize the complexity involved in properly addressing this issue and sympathize with Israeli citizens whose personal security has been compromised by the lawlessness and violence of some migrants, we are disturbed by inflammatory public statements made by certain Israeli officials, some of which has veered into racism. These statements are counterproductive and only serve to further inflame tensions.
And the other police came with soldiers, and then they spoke to the people, and then the people stopped this thing. And from there, that's the story of the protest, and they nowadays, from there they start saying that they want to deport the porters and refugees. And nowadays I'm talking here, but they start deporting the people. There are some people. They used to attack the refugees in the street, if you're walking around, there are 2 people, people with motorcycles, they will attack you, in the street, they will shoot you, or whatever they are able to put yourself in danger.
People of South Tel Aviv, they feel like South Tel Aviv is overcrowded by the refugees. Is from there when they organize the demonstration. It's only there that they say that we don't know how to live with black people. We don't have that. We don't want them around here in our neighborhood, in our place. And that word is discrimination, and also they say a lot of bad words, that these people are sick of AIDS, and they have TB, they have cancer, and they are also terrorists. Really hard our heart, because we have our family, our friends, all of them are killed in this war. And if someone say, what happened to you? You are just coming for a walk. This is really a very, very bad thing. Like me, I'm 17 years away, and I was not looking for a walk. I'm not searching for a work for all these years. It's because of the war. And I didn't decide to leave my parents to come and look for a work. If we complain, they say, who invite you? Many people said this. Nobody invited you to come here. We don't need invitation if something want to kill us. We want to run away for life. Because this is what they say. You run for life. You don't wait. It's not the refugees because of work. It's the refugees because of the war. And I don't want to leave without going to school here. I don't want to go back to South. I want to go back to South with at least education, so my family will see me. I'm not that small boy who was abducted someone else. And those years, I was really in need of help. Even to run, I need someone to hold my hand so I can help. I can be a good helper to the people in the future. It's first to go to school. I cannot help if I'm not an educated person. I cannot talk on behalf of the others if I'm not an educated person.
Of the 50,000 infiltrators, the official term has been condemned by the U.S. State Department. Still here, Eritreans and Sudanese cannot be deported because the dangers at home qualify them for collective protection under international conventions. A third group, 1,000 South Sudanese, are being deported after a court ruling that the new state is safe to return to. But with a suspended deportation order hanging over them, the remaining African asylum seekers are in legal limbo, unable to secure refugee status and therefore access to health and social services. Article 32 of the Refugee Convention states that the contracting state shall not expel a refugee lawfully in their territory save on grounds of national security or public order. The expulsion of such a refugee shall be only in pursuance of a decision reached in accordance with due process of law. The contracting state shall allow such a refugee a reasonable period within which to seek legal admission into another country. The contracting states reserve the right to apply during that period such internal measures as they may deem necessary. A new law permits detention of refugees for 3 years, and so Israel is constructing a 12,400-place desert prison camp, along with tented facilities across the country, to house tens of thousands of infiltrators until they can be sent out of the country, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said this month. The inmates will not be allowed to work.
Thanks so much too for giving me this chance to express myself. This is all I know. This is all in my heart. What I said, and if it is something that hard, I don't mean, because I don't want to hurt any person. It's just my advice, and sometimes they are wrong. But if wrong, then don't take it serious. I'm learning also to talk.
Deeply aware of the realities that Israel faces as a small country with limited resources, the Right Now coalition members believe that concern for asylum seekers need not and should not come at the expense of Israelis' urban poor, nor should it come at the expense of the African asylum seekers. We urge the Israeli government to implement the following with urgency. Take action right now by signing our petition, joining the coalition, liking us on Facebook, and donating tonight.